fell to an 11-month low, confirming signs of a possible slowdown in the world's second largest economy. Looking at the numbers now, we see that the Shanghai Composite Index led losses by over 0.5%. It's down about 10.55 basis points. The Hong Kong stocks were also flat, with the Hang Seng marginally up 0.01%, while Japan's key benchmark index, that's the Nikkei 225, closed down 0.32%, shedding about 47.23 basis points. Funny numbers there, but we'll continue to track them. Now, when Business Morning returns in just a moment, Gabriel Idahosa will join me on the program, and we'll be looking at the MPC's decision to retain the interest rate at 12% and the implications for the economy. Please stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching the Wednesday edition of Business Morning on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos, Nigeria. Now, we know that the most topical issue trending now in the business world is the fact that the Central Bank of Nigeria's Monetary Policy Committee has for the 11th time left the monetary policy rate unchanged at 11%. No surprise there. But then there was a couple of surprises along the way. The CRR was left unchanged as a cash reserve requirement was left or was increased from 12% to 50%. Well, to take a look at all of this and other issues that we'll be developing on the program, I'm joined by an economist, Gabriel Idahosa. He's quite a regular on the program. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you.
Well, when you heard the news that the monetary policy rate had been left unchanged, were you surprised?
No. No one expected any change. There are indications that it will remain there for quite a while, because the things that are required to happen before it can start going down, we're now moving in the opposite direction. And rather than going down, the question is, will it stay where it is or even go up? One of the big things is the fact that our oil revenues are now coming down. We are selling much less oil around the world, and this is looking to be a fairly permanent trend. And so all policy agencies in Nigeria, from the CBN to the Ministry of Finance, are having to deal with that, which means that you cannot afford to begin to bring down interest rates when, in fact, your incomes are looking down and are likely to remain so for quite a foreseeable future.
Okay, but the CBN governor actually said that we seem to have attained a certain macro stability. Now, in light of that, if it doesn't come down, would it have been wise for it to have moved up, even if it's by 50 basis points?
Well, that's why the CBN is keeping it at that point. The CBN is trying to maintain that stability that it has achieved over the last 4 or 5 years. And it's trying to do that and ensuring that all the other factors in the economy are able to play around that stability. So that's why, for example, the cash reserve ratios are being, changed. That's why, for example, you are looking at supplementary budgets. You are looking at efforts to cool down the rate at which we expand our expenditure levels, all in an effort to ensure that even if the revenues are coming down, we can still maintain the stability we have got in terms of the interest rates and the foreign exchange rates. Well, it's going to be very difficult going forward.
Well, let's just take a moment here. At a forum recently, we spoke to the to Dr. Kingsley Moghalu, the Central Bank of Nigeria's Deputy Governor and head of the Apex Bank's Financial System Stability System and a member of the MPC board. Let's take a listen to what he says actually makes the policy or drives the decision that the MPC takes at such meetings. Take a listen.
The Monetary Policy Committee is a professional body. It does not act on the basis of unscientific public opinion. It acts on the basis of rational economic facts on the ground. It's also an independent committee. And that's why we talk about central bank independence. And those decisions that the Monetary Policy Committee has taken, I can assure you, they were taken in the best interest of the economy of Nigeria. When we feel that the factors that will help to bring down interest rates are there, we will reduce the monetary policy rate. There is no ideology about the monetary policy rate. Now, the next thing I want to tell you, which is very important, is that a lot of people have come to attach a lot of importance. It's good, but sometimes it's exaggerated on monetary policy. Monetary policy is just one part of economic policy making. There are some structural factors in this country that are fueling the high cost of doing business in this country. It's not just the monetary policy rate. The fact that we don't have a high wattage of electric power in this country is a fundamental economic problem. And until that is changed, if we go to 10,000 megawatts today, the cost of doing business in this and maintain it, the cost of doing business in this country will fall. The banks must necessarily reflect that fall in the cost of doing business in their interest rates. So it's not totally accurate to, lay everything at the doorstep of the interest rate. It's a major factor, but there are reasons why the interest rate is where it is, and it has protected the Nigerian economy.
Well, that's the Deputy Director, the CBN Deputy Governor, rather, and head of the Apex Bank's Financial System Stability and a member of the Monetary Policy Committee Board, Dr. Kingsley Moghalu. Well, you listened to what he said. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's really the point, is that the Monetary Policy Committee is not a popular forum. It's not a popular forum for gauging public opinion or for looking at what is politically right to do or not to do. The hard job that they have to do is to look at the facts. The facts as we have them now, the trends in the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years down the road. Because it doesn't make sense to take a decision today, for example, to bring down interest rate from 12% to 11.5%, knowing that 3 or 6 months from today, you are going to have to reverse that. So the policy committee looks at what are the facts today? What are the trends? What is our revenue profile for the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years? And those facts are not dependent on my opinion or your opinion. It does not depend on the political landscape. They are facts of the international economy, of the people that buy our oil, for example, whether they want to buy, at what price we can sell our oil, whether we can export non-oil products, at what price and how much revenue we can earn. Those are the facts that the CBN looks at. And as you said, half of the economy is controlled outside the CBN by fiscal policy, the Federal Ministry of Finance, the National Assembly. So no matter what CBN does, those other players are going to be acting independently. They are never going to sit with the CBN and say, what do we do to bring down interest rates? The National Assembly is not bothered about interest rates. They are bothered about bringing out more and more money, presumably for their constituencies. And they don't really care how it affects interest rates. It's now the job of the CBN to say, what has the National Assembly decided this year as its budget? How will it affect the monetary side of the economy? What do I then do at CBN to modulate cash flows, monetary flows, to ensure that interest rates and foreign exchange rates are stable? And the CBN is doing that, but the National Assembly really doesn't care. They don't consider those factors of what inflation will be or what the interest rate will be. Their primary concern is my constituency need money for roads, for whatever, presumably that The money will actually go there to do those things. And that's all that they are bothered about.
Well, some have argued